Okay, trying this again. This is about elimination. We're going to talk about bowel elimination, and we're also going to talk about urinary elimination. So to get to bowel elimination, we need to begin with basic GI anatomy. So food goes into the mouth, that is ingestion. We chew. Food is mixed with some enzymes and saliva for some liquid. We swallow. Food goes down the esophagus to the stomach. In the stomach, food is churned with a lot of acid, and the acids break down the food, so that is digestion. Food moves into the small intestine. In the small intestine, we're absorbing nutrients. So when the food moves from the stomach into the small intestine, it's called chyme, C-H-Y-M-E. The small intestines are long, so they loop around a lot. So it goes back and forth and around and loops. So there's a lot of distance. And the internal surface area is bigger than the external surface area of the small intestine. And that's because of villi. The villi are these little projections, like little fingers, that go into the lumen. They're the lining of the small intestine. And off of each of those little fingers, there are more little villi, microvilli, and those are actually absorbing nutrients. So as the chyme passes through the small intestine, those villi and microvilli are being bathed in the nutrients and they're absorbing. So nutrients are primarily absorbed in the small intestine, finally get through the small intestine, and the chyme moves into the large intestine. And it begins on the lower right side. The ascending colon is on the right. Transverse colon goes from right to left. Descending colon on the left, and the sigmoid colon at the end that goes over and moves into the rectum, and then the anus. So in the colon, the primary function is absorbing water. So we're absorbing all the extra water. So we have liquid chyme that goes into the colon. The colon has long muscle fibers, and then it has muscle fibers that are banded around. And so that kind of forms these little pouches where the chyme moves in, and as peristalsis happens, the chyme is churned around in those haustra, and in the haustra, the water is absorbed through the lining of the colon. So we begin with liquid chyme moving into the colon. By the time we get through the colon, we have absorbed a lot of the water, and we should have soft formed stool. So some concepts you need to know about how the intestines work. Some really important concepts are peristalsis. We have continuous peristalsis that moves the food along through the intestinal system. And then we have mass peristalsis in the colon that is usually triggered by the gastrocolic reflex. So someone eats, and then the colon moves along a larger mass of stool. Another thing that you need to know about is time in transit. And so what we mean by that is how long is the chyme in the small intestine? How long is the stool in the large intestine? Because the longer it's there, the more we can absorb out of it. So if chyme moves through the small intestine too quickly, then we absorb less nutrients. If the stool moves through the large intestine too quickly, we have diarrhea because less water is absorbed. If it moves through too slowly, more water is absorbed, so we have constipation. So let's stop the first recording there. These recordings are going to be short because I'm having a hard time maintaining connection.